Hi, I'm Robert,
And I'm Jenny with an I.
and we want to welcome you once again to our channel,
60
360
Minion
Minion
Trucker.
Trucker. On today's video, what I want to do is show you a little bit about things that you need to check on your truck every day, and then I'll show you how we couple safely to the trailer and make sure that it's coupled and locked so it doesn't come unlocked on you going down the road. This won't be a full pre-trip inspection because we've already done that, and I just want to show you the major things that we need to check. All right, here we go. Okay, we're outside the truck now, and I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the things that you want to check on the truck every day. Like I say, this is not going to be a full pre-trip inspection, but at the same time, it's going to be some of the major things you want to check every time you stop, every time you fuel. Just check on these things and make sure that everything is in good working order. All right, so follow me. You're going to unlatch your hood here. These are the hood latches. There's one on each side, obviously. All right, and when you lift the hood, you can lift it from the front, from the lift point, but it's really heavy, and I usually don't like lifting it from there. So what I'll do is grab it up under the fender here and just lift it up, and it's really not that hard to lift. All right, and just make sure it's all the way open. You'll hear it hit the stops. I always recommend that you keep a good pair of gloves. I always keep my gloves on me when you're working around these trucks and checking them out. One of the first things you want to do is you want to have a napkin with you, and obviously always check your oil. Now if you come in a little closer, you'll see that these have locks on them. Alright, so what you want to do, the dipstick, this is the dipstick for the engine oil here, and this is where you add oil if you need to. So you want to twist it like that, and then pull it up. Alright, and they're kind of long. Turn the camera this way here. They're kind of long, but you can kind of see the oil level right there. Always wipe it off. And then stick it in again. Push it all the way in, pull it back out, and that'll give you a more accurate reading. And as you can see, we're full on oil. Power steering fluid is right here. You want to check the power steering fluid. This is above the minimum, so we're good there. On this side, you got your washer fluid. You want to make sure you always have washer fluid. Yes, you can get a ticket for not having washer fluid. And you want to make sure that the radiator is above the minimum and below the maximum. You can see those on there, minimum and maximum. So we're good on radiator fluid. Now we've been smelling radiator fluid here and there in this truck, but it's only down just a little bit, so I'll check it, tomorrow and the next day. And when it starts getting down below, close to this line here, then we'll start adding, because if it gets down to this sensor right here, then the check engine light is going to come on. It's going to start beeping at you, and then eventually the engine stop light will come on, and it'll tell you to shut the truck off. Check your brakes. It's going to be hard to see inside of here, but you always want to check your brakes. Make sure your brake pads are good. Make sure you don't have any oil down there, because that means you have a wheel seal leak. All right, so you want to do that on both sides. All right. Same thing on this side. I'll check that. There's a little bit of grease here, but that's fine as long as it's not dripping to the ground. Just make sure that there's no oil on the brake drums, because that means you have a wheel seal leak. Check your belts. These are new belts on this truck, so it's in pretty good shape. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the hood. And those are the main things to check.
You want to tell them how to close the hood?
And just push the hood closed. Yeah, it's easy to close the hood. Make sure you latch both sides. It's going down the road. If you don't latch these, that hood is going to bounce around. And if you're in a truck stop and you don't latch the hood, that hood can actually pop up because it's got a the pneumatic piston in there that helps lift the hood. All right, so just make sure you latch both sides of the hood. Okay, so next we're going to go over coupling. Now, whenever you couple to a trailer, the one thing you always want to avoid is a high hook. A high hook means that the trailer was lifted up too high, and there's a kingpin there that locks into the center of the fifth wheel. And if you high hook it, then the kingpin can actually go over the fifth wheel and get stuck on the front of the fifth wheel. And I've seen a lot of people do that over the years because they don't get out and check. There's a couple of ways you can check. Some people use the fist method. If it's only about a fist width, then it's high enough. I don't like using that. Every truck is different, tires are different. That's not really a good way. What I like to do is crawl under the trailer, and I'll have you come up under here with me and stand right there, and you can see that we're perfectly aligned with the fifth wheel, and that the plate is actually going to hit the fifth wheel right where it slopes steeper, and that's right where you want that trailer. Also, when you're first backing up to the trailer, you want to make sure that the outside of your tire is aligned with these bolts right here. It can be as wide as these. It can be, this is the perfect alignment. All right? So this is about perfect. Also, you want to make sure this handle's down. And you want to make sure that there's space behind the trailer in case you back up and the brakes don't hold, or maybe the brakes didn't set. You don't want to back up to the trailer and push it into something behind you. Make sure you have a little bit of space behind you just in case that trailer moves a little bit. Alright? So what I'm going to do now, I won't be able to talk during this part, so I'm going to tell you now what I'm going to do. I'm going to start up the truck, and I'm going to start backing slowly under the trailer. You don't have to slam into them. You just back up slowly, make the connection, and then give it a tug. Always do a tug test to make sure that you are hooked, and then get out and check it. So I'm going to do that now. And that's one thing I forgot to mention. Anytime you climb out of these big trucks, in or out, make sure you have 3 points of contact. There are a lot of people that have fallen and injured themselves. You want to grab on to a handle, step, and you can use the steering wheel as a handle too, because it's not going to go anywhere. But anytime you climb in and out, you should always use 3 points of contact. So now, we're hooked. We did our tug test. But always visually check that you are hooked. Now you notice there's going to be a lot less space now. So when you come in here, it's going to be dark and hard to see. Should have brought my flashlight, but I didn't. But up there, the jaws are actually closed against the kingpin, all right? And always check that, and check that the handle that's right up in front of you is in, okay? Now, the next step is going to be, I gotta turn on the lights. I forgot to turn on the parking light. Hooking up our air line. All right. You have a blue air line, a red air line, and a green electric line. So, if you look at the hoses here, blue, red. Blue goes to blue. Green obviously goes to the electric line. And red goes to red. And then the last step, it's kind of tight, but here we go, is you want to crank up your landing gear. All right. On these trailers, there's 2 gears, okay? There's not one. There's usually a sticker here that tells you low and high range, but there's not one on here. On the newer trailers, it's out for high range, in for low range. So now you just crank them up.